नमस्कार, मैं हूं रमेश भट्ट। मिडिल ईस्ट में ईरान और इजरायल के बीच युद्ध आज चौथे दिन में प्रवेश कर चुका है। इन सब के बीच अमेरिकी राष्ट्रपति डोनाल्ड ट्रंप का बयान आया है कि इजरायल और ईरान को बातचीत के जरिए मसलों को सुलझाना चाहिए और उनके बीच में बातचीत हो सकती है। अब सवाल यह है, अगर बातचीत होगी तो उसकी शर्तें क्या होंगी। दूसरा सवाल यह है, अगर बातचीत होती है तो कौन से देश की महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका होने जा रही है। इसी पे बात करने के लिए हमने आमंत्रित किया है न्यूज़ नेशन के स्टूडियो में भारत में इजरायल के एम्बेसडर रूवेन अजार साहब को। थैंक यू वेरी मच सर फॉर जॉइनिंग अस। और मेरे सहयोगी मधुरेन भी इस चर्चा में मेरे साथ शामिल होंगे, जो विदेशी मामले देखते हैं, डिफेंस एक्सपर्ट हैं, और उनसे रूवेन अजार साहब से हम जानने की कोशिश करेंगे कि आखिर कैसे ये जो पूरा चल रहा है मिडिल ईस्ट में, इसको डीएस्केलेट किया जा सकता है। वेलकम सर। एम्बेसडर अजार, द अटैक्स यू कैरिड आउट ऑन ईरान, did they achieve the objective? My first question. And did you succeed in hitting the target aimed for? And the third is, what is Israel's long-term strategic objective behind it?
Israel is achieving its objective of basically foiling Iran's plan to exterminate the state of Israel. What Iran has been doing is it has chose two paths to destroy us. It has sworn to destroy us. First, by sneaking out into a nuclear weapon. They were actually exploiting the time they had to negotiate with President Trump in order to form a clandestine group of people that were basically building a nuclear weapon, weaponizing the fissile material, the enriched uranium. The second path that they had is a plan to build an arsenal of 20,000 ballistic missiles in the next 6 years in order to be able to destroy Israel even without using nuclear weapons. So we have basically got to the conclusion that if we want to survive as a state, we have to tackle that. And that's what we're doing now.
Ambassador sir, what was the need to go across and hit Iranian targets, including all the targets, whether it's the missile centers or the nuclear program centers? Does this action was taken because Israel was facing an existential crisis?
Absolutely. Look, Iran is a fanatic, radical regime that has sworn to destroy us. It wasn't just empty talk. They've been dedicating years and years of, first of all, creating this ring of fire around us with proxies like Hezbollah, like the militias in Syria, in Iraq, in Yemen, in the Gaza Strip, with Hamas and the PIJ. And in addition to that, we're investing tens of billions of dollars in trying to create these weapons, not only to destroy the state of Israel. Israel is just a beginning in their plan of hegemony, because the real war in the Middle East is not between Iran and Israel. It's between the radical Shiite regime of Iran and the Sunni Arab states. And they wanted to get, ultimately, to Mecca and Medina. So they were using us as an excuse, and the amount of power they were concentrating left us no choice but to neutralize it. So in the first 18 months, we neutralized Hamas, Hezbollah. We have changed the reality in Lebanon and Syria, taking out the Iranian control and giving back to the Arab world. And now we are directly tackling the threat from within Iran.
Okay. Ambassador Azar, Iran calls it a unilateral military action by Israel, while your stand is clear that hitting the civilian installation or infrastructure, your country treat as a war crime. We all know war has always brought destructions. There is any scope of dialogue?
Unfortunately, the Iranian regime has refused not only to have a negotiation with us, they refuse to talk to us. Okay? They have one goal. They just want to destroy us. So the only language that they know is the language of violence and aggression. Israel is targeting only military targets, targets that are destined to degrade the capability of Iran to continue its campaign of aggression against us. But at the same time, the Iranians are firing hundreds of ballistic missiles on our cities. Fortunately, thanks to our multi-layered system of air defense, we've been able to save a lot of lives, but unfortunately, already 23 Israeli civilians have been killed since this operation started.
Sir, we are closely following this war, and extensively we are looking at the use of the arms like you see ballistic missiles, even in intercontinental missile. But so far the statement of PM Netanyahu is concerned. In his address, he has never addressed the Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. Rather, he is connecting with the people of Iran. Does your government wishes to pursue the policy of regime change?
What our government wants to do is to defend Israel and to neutralize military threats. Of course, that we are having a dialogue with the Iranian people because the people of Iran has been friendly towards the Jewish people for many years, for millennia, and we have nothing against them. So we hope that the Iranian people will be free, but we are not having a policy of regime change because we do not have the resources, frankly, to invest in changing the political landscape of any country in our region. We are concentrated as a democracy in building our own economy, our own capability, our own defense forces, and we are determined to defend ourselves, especially from those who would like to annihilate us.
Ambassador Azar, your defense minister has said that Iran still has faced the worst. So what could be the worst then?
What could be what?
Worst.
The worst case scenario, you mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, look, we have prepared ourselves for many worst case scenarios because our sense was that once Iran starts firing this barrage of ballistic missiles, the entire home front in Israel will be exposed. And therefore, we have invested billions of dollars in a system of missile defense. We are trying to sophisticate it. We have learned a lot of lessons since the 7th of October and since Hezbollah has been firing at Israel. And we are implementing those lessons in order to minimize casualties in Israel. For us, the worst case scenario is a situation in which Iran will achieve nuclear weapons, will create an arsenal of nuclear weapons, and under the umbrella of this arsenal, they will renew their campaign to exterminate our state.
So we are looking at the escalation that is crossing the borders now, and particularly we are looking towards the Iraq. Even we are looking that the Yemen is also using a huge barrage of missile. Today we have seen that he has targeted the Negev area. So do you think that this conflict, this war is going to be not a Israel versus Iran, but a regional war could be imminent? Do you think that
it depends on the Iranians? Look, if they decide to attack other countries, those countries will have to decide whether to defend themselves and retaliate. Israel is not interested in a regional war. On the contrary, what we are doing right now is actually preventing a regional war. Because if we wouldn't have taken action against the Iranian nuclear capability, then the Iranians would have continued to wage wars in this region forever. Look, there is a very, very similar case in history that we have to take example from. 100 years ago, the powers of Europe had to decide whether to tackle the rising Nazi regime, Adolf Hitler. And they were so concentrated in trying to prevent war that they brought the worst war in the history of mankind with 60 million people dead. If we wouldn't have acted against the Iranians, the number of casualties that this machine of aggression that Iran, the regime is creating, would have brought death to millions of people. We've seen what they have been doing in in Syria, for example, when they're assisting the bloody Assad regime. 500,000 people were killed there. So the future of the Middle East actually would be much worse if the Iranians would be allowed to continue with the plan. So by defending itself, Israel actually is defending the region and defending the world.
Ambassador, do you think USA and European partners of Israel has done enough to deter Iran? How do you interpret the recent statement of American President Donald Trump suggesting that Iran and Israel should make a deal and will make a deal?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, clearly, the world hasn't done enough to stop the aggression of Iran. And therefore, we had no choice when diplomacy failed to take action ourselves. Now, we are very grateful to the United States because it has given us the tools to defend ourselves. It is backing up. We are in complete sync with the United States. We are coordinated, and we are working together. It's up to the United States to decide whether they want to act militarily. We would like their assistance diplomatically in order to bring this conflict into an end. We think that it's possible. The time frame, I think, is depending on to what extent the Iranians are going to be left with the capability to continue attacking us with their ballistic missiles. But what we want to achieve is a situation is that Iran will be unable to build a nuclear weapon verifiably, that the powers of the world will be able to verify, the IAEA, the United States, and other powers, that Iran is incapable of building a nuclear weapon.
Sir, what we see through various reports that the Iranian warmongers are claiming that Iran has attacked nuke facility of Israel and will further attack other facilities. What is your take?
Well, I think that it's very clear that if we don't stop this regime, the results will be disastrous, not only for us, but for the world. And, you know, Israel is a country, as I told you before, that it concentrates in building itself, in building prosperity for its people. You know, I just saw statistics before I arrived. In 1990, the GDP per capita of Iran was $10,000. Now is less than $4,000. Israel's GDP per capita in 1990 was a little bit more than 10,000. Now it's 57,000. So when you have freedom, when you have free markets, when you have entrepreneurship, when you are a democracy that is concentrated in prosperity for your people, you will succeed. But when you are concentrating in war and creating machines of aggression, that is very bad news for the Iranian people and for the region, and we hope that Iran will change course.
Ambassador Azar, that two countries are aggressively supporting Iran. One is Pakistan and another is Turkey. How do you see this alliance?
Well, I'm not sure that these are alliances. I think that when you have an alliance, then you have support that is just more than words. You have financial support, you have military support. I don't think that this is the case, okay? I think that what we are seeing now is a situation in which some countries would like to position themselves in a certain way because it fits their interest or the popularity among their people. I don't take it very seriously. I think that what we have to concentrate right now is in garnering the support of those countries that are responsible, that are interested in de-escalation, like India, for example, and engage with them in order to create a better future for the peoples of the Middle East.
Ambassador sir, there are Quds forces that are being supported by Iran since long. We have seen whether it's Hamas or Hezbollah or Houthi. The question is that the Iranian-backed militia in Syria and Iraq will become more directly involved. So we are looking at also in last 4 days we have seen that how Houthi has also joined Iran and attacked so many times a barrage of rockets. So how do you see that their allies could also joining Iran and they are creating a lots of problem at the soil of Israel?
Well, fortunately, we've been able to degrade very successfully the Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad machinery, the missiles that they were launching at Israel. We neutralized that. The same goes with Hezbollah. Hezbollah had the biggest stockpile of missiles any terrorist organization had in history, 150,000 missiles and rockets. We have neutralized most of that, and now Hezbollah is constrained inside Lebanon. And if they dare to attack us again, the results for them will be devastating. When it comes to the Houthis, it is really a challenge. Yesterday, our Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, told in one of the interviews that according to our intelligence, the Iranians were planning to export a nuclear bomb to give it to the Houthis. So this is a very dangerous situation. We are retaliating against the Houthis. We've been bombarding them. Yesterday, we tried to take out the leader of the Houthis. We don't know yet whether we succeeded, but we are determined to defend ourselves, and whoever tries to assist Iran will have to pay the price.
Okay, Ambassador Azar, that during Operation Sindoor, you openly supported India, war against terror. So India share good diplomatic relations with Iran also. What role can India play in mediating the conflict between Israel and Iran?
Well, it's up to India to decide. We have a very good dialogue with the Indian government. Yesterday, our Prime Minister spoke with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We had a conversation between our Foreign Minister Azar with Foreign Minister Jaishankar, and our national security advisors also spoke. We think that India has a very positive role to play in our region. We are planning, together with Arab countries, those who are more pragmatic and want to create stability in our region. We are planning economic projects like IMEC, for example, to connect India to Europe via the Middle East. There are many things that we can do in order to secure a more prosperous Middle East. And I'm determined to continue this dialogue with the Indian government in order to create more projects and bring more prosperity both to West Asia and to India as well.
There is a question in mind of every Indian that Israel is having the best air defense system of the world, whether it's Iron Dome or David Sling or Arrow or even the third coming from America. But in this war, we have seen that Iran has been successful targeting the civilian area of the Tel Aviv, even the Haifa last night we have seen. Do you think that there is some potential weapon that Iran is using and that is being not handled by the air defense system? Is it?
Well, look, our defense system is the best defense system in the world.
Right.
And we developed it because we knew what the Iranians are building. You see, we invested a lot of resources to understand what is going on in Iran, and when we saw that Iran is building that capability, we built the capability to defend ourselves. Ballistic missiles are very dangerous. This is a race that is happening all the time between the aggressors and the defenders. Unfortunately, although we were very successful in foiling more than 90% of the missiles, there are some that penetrate, and hence you have some casualties. But compared to the intention of Iran, the Iranians were intending to kill thousands of people and destroy our cities. This is what they said. They said they're going to destroy our cities. They failed. And in that context, the missile defense capability has proven itself in a very good way.
So, Mr. Azar, do you think that any realistic diplomatic path forward with Iran, or has this war has closed the window indefinitely?
On the contrary, this war has opened the window, because so far, the Iranians were stalling for time. So far, the diplomatic offers the Iranians were getting were serving their target of continuing their aggression, like the agreement that was signed with them in 2015, that only temporarily froze their enrichment capability, but on the other hand, gave them the capability to enrich after a period of time, unlimited, in a way that they could sneak out to a nuclear arsenal in a matter of weeks.
Okay.
And in addition, they were offering them relief of sanctions that would allow them all the money they need in order to continue their campaign of aggression in the region, to build their ballistic missile stockpile. So that was a very dangerous agreement. And now that Iran is weaker, now that Israel has actually control of the Iranian airspace, this is a good time to negotiate. This is a time in which the United States and other powers can bring Iran to the table to actually get a real compromise and not a facade of diplomacy that has actually no results and do not contribute to the security of the region. So I'm optimistic that when we achieve this result, and as much as we degrade the Iranian capability, an opening for diplomacy would be such that will bring peace to our region.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you very much for coming to our studio.
Thank you.
तो एम्बेसडर अज़ार का साफ कहना है कि मध्य पूर्व में अगर देखा जाए उनके अस्तित्व के लिए सबसे बड़ा संकट था और उनके पास कोई विकल्प नहीं बचा था, सिर्फ ईरान की जो वो न्यूक्लियर कैपेबिलिटी हासिल करना चाहता था वहां हमला करने के अलावा। कुल मिलाकर आने वाले दिनों में ये वॉर किस तरफ जाता है और क्या ये युद्ध बातचीत से खत्म होगा, और अगर होगा तो किन शर्तों पे होगा और कौन देश इसके लिए मीडिएट करेंगे, ये देखना भी दिलचस्प होगा। बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे इस खास इंटरव्यू को देखने के लिए। थैंक यू।
जहाँ भक्ति है हर शब्द में, कथाओं में छुपे हैं दिव्य रहस्य और ज्योतिष देता है जीवन को दिशा। धर्म से जुड़ी हर बातों को जानने के लिए हमारे चैनल स्तुति को सब्सक्राइब करें। चैनल पर जाने के लिए इस लिंक पर क्लिक करें।